the defendant through her counsel to actually provide any admissible or relevant evidence that pertains to third-party culprit, which to this point they have not done. So if this is something that's going to be raised as an issue on its own, as the court is well aware, what the case law indicates is that the acts of the other person are so closely connected in point of time and method of operation as to cast doubt upon the identification of the defendant as a person who committed the crime. It has to be specific. It has to be to at least a specific realm of person or a specifically identified person who would have motive, opportunity to commit the act with which the defendant is charged.
So the initial question is, why is there a third-party culprit defense? Why is it relevant? And we start, Your Honor, with the fact that our forensic medical examiner, Frank Sheridan, a pathologist, forensic pathologist who has performed himself thousands and thousands of autopsies, has already submitted a sworn affidavit to this court that John O'Keefe's injuries are consistent with having been in a fight and are not consistent with having been hit by a car. Since he submitted that affidavit, the federal authorities have provided us with their reports, whereby FBI experts also corroborate that John O'Keefe's injuries are not consistent with having been hit by a car. They employed experts in biomechanics and kinematics who have reviewed the evidence in this case, and they've confirmed that the physical evidence essentially shows and doesn't show what Dr. Sheridan has opined.
Boom. Welcome. Mike Crawford, Young Jerks, got a special, I don't know, I don't want to say I don't know what we call this, some kind of broadcast. It's a special broadcast because today was pretty wild. It's been a long day. It's been a long couple days, and today was just wild at court. I wasn't even expecting to do a show tonight. Got so many other things I need to work on, but someone had put a post that they wanted to do a show tonight, and I was like, damn, I want this person on. So we got two good guests. Who are there today? Who are there? One has been covering outside, and the other one has been in the second row today. So let's bring them both up. Tom CPU and Nick Rocco. What's up, guys?
How you doing?
How we doing, guys?
So much to talk about with you guys tonight. Where do you want to start?
Let's start with the SJC stuff, because I mean, we can talk for days about what happened today in court. So basically what happened was the four people that were on the original motion filed the motion in Superior Court. Judge Bev struck it down, as we saw. So then what Mark did was he took that, he took those four to appeals court, who then they said take it to the SJC. So that was filed with the SJC, but then also the petitioners, there was about 513 people that had sent me their names, that put their name on this petition. That was a separate petition to the SJC. So there were two matters at hand, essentially the same argument though. So the judge gave the Commonwealth until 10 a.m. this morning to respond to it. They responded. It was their response was about 12 pages, 70 total, because they all the documents got posted, Mark's initial filing and Karen's case and that stuff. And then those two got denied today. And then what's going to happen now is, so apparently that is a single justice. Now he's appealing it to the full spectrum Supreme Court, which is basically a whole case. Now, I'm not 100% familiar with it. I'm learning as I go with this, and basically relaying the information as I get it. So I know I post a lot on the page, but it's because as I get this information, the first people I want to get it out to is you guys. So that's pretty much where we're at with that. And that's why I wanted to start with that, because it would be pretty short. But I mean, if anyone has any questions about it, you guys can either message me or put it in the comments here. But I mean, what do you guys think of that?
Well, so that basically means that right now it's going to be illegal to protest within that 200 whatever it is, 200
Right.
feet, 200 yards. What is it? 200 feet?
200 feet. I mean, there's really no clarification whether they're gonna be out there marking. Are they gonna take spray paint and like circle where we have to stand behind? Is there gonna be a cop at every intersection? How are they gonna do it?
I have
I
an
mean,
answer to that. Give me 1 second. I
You
have
have
an
it?
answer. I do.
Okay. I mean, are people gonna bring tape measures? 200 feet from the. It's. I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna do it. I mean, they got to figure it out by Tuesday, and I think they should make the public aware of how they're going to do it. Because if you don't know, I mean, a lot of people in that area know about this case, but if you don't know about it for some reason, and like Turtle Boy had said, if you're at the library and you have what if me and my son go to the library? We have Red Sox gear on. Is that a demonstration that we support the Red Sox? Seriously, though, and if you don't know, I mean, obviously they're probably not gonna give you a ticket or anything, but it's just the principle of they're breaking the order now. So I don't know. It's all so crazy. I mean, do you plan on trying to get any days at the trial?
Me?
Yeah.
I was pissed today when they said Fridays because that's like today was perfect for me because it was like my slowest day. But
What was Friday? Something about the jurors, right? They're not going to be there on Fridays.
yeah, they're not going to be there on Fridays. So I'm
So
like,
what happens then? They argue in court with no jurors?
No, I think they just go Monday to Thursday.
I thought you said Monday, Wednesday, Friday, full days. Tuesday, Thursday.
No,
half days.
I think that she said no jurors on Friday. Maybe they meet and decides things. You know how they might do outside. But
Dude,
I don't know.
I've never been.
That's what I thought I heard. I want to find out because if I was to be there, it would be a Friday.
Yeah. Tom, what do you got for us?
But I wonder if I wore this hat, if I'd get in trouble. Just the Young Jerks logo. Is that like a protest? Like, do they allow you to wear hats even in the place? You can wear a
No,
hat.
you can't
right?
wear a hat in the courtroom.
Oh, you can't. Okay.
But once you step out the court doors,
Exactly.
going down
If
the
I put my
stairs,
hat
you
on,
can.
would I be in trouble? So that's what people need to think about. What logos you're wearing on just ridiculous. Very selective. That's the problem with free speech,
So,
Well,
today,
go ahead.
amongst my travels, I ended up with I actually had to go to the bathroom, just so you guys know. I had to pee. I'm normal. I had to go in. But I ended up with this memo, and the memo gave specifics as to what is going to happen with the trial. Now, I'm looking for it, and it's amongst all my stuff that's wet, soaking. It's all in the tub right now. But I have it, and my friend took a picture of it, and she's going to send it to me when she gets
Awesome. Do you remember
Where did it come from?
anything like to really
know.
stick out to you?
it. Yep, they're going to have roving patrols.
They're really gonna have patrols.
Absolutely. High, give me another, high police presence. There was something about keeping people somewhere, and they weren't allowed. But I have the entire.
Where did you get this? What is this from?
Just floats around out there. You got to catch it.
So someone leaked you some info. Good. You're a reporter. You're a
I
journalist.
mean,
now.
I think that information. I don't think that's information that should need to be leaked. I think that's information that should be put out to the public so we know what to
Absolutely.
do.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Thank you.
you
Yep.
keeping that from people. I mean,
It's at least an outline, or at least it's something from the court to, I think, to everybody, like an internal memo type of a weird type of a thing. But I have it all. I'm waiting for it. And if I can get it, I can just send it over to you, Mike, and you probably post it right up on this page. But can I say something real quick?
Yes.
When it comes to, just so everybody knows, when it comes to the page, and when Nick puts stuff up about like what's happening and stuff, it's always correct. Always correct. And I know I make mistakes on that all the time because it's really confusing. I mean, how many courts has this gone through, Nick? In what, a week?
how many what?
How many courts? How many judges has this been in front of in a week?
Yeah, I mean,
And how many phone calls?
two in the Supreme with the SJC, and then I mean you got Bev, so it's it's hard to keep track of. I mean, it really is. This is like keeping track of this stuff is like a full-time job. It really is. It's constant, you know, it doesn't stop. But when, I mean, I think at the end of this, you know, we're on the side of truth, and I truly believe that. So like I said before, you know, when I put my effort into something, I don't do it half-ass, and I truly believe in this, and I want to see it all the way through to the end. So whether it means getting 500 messages to put someone's name on a list just to get denied, you know what? We tried. So
Mike,
that's how I look at it.
you got mail.
Let's talk about what happened today now.
Oh my God, it rained out. You know that?
It did. It poured. There were people out there still, though. I mean, was it Scott McGinnis giving an interview to someone this morning, and it was just like downpouring on him, and she started trying to ask him questions. It was like, oh man, it was bad. But
it was raining so hard they couldn't get the mic to work because the rain was ridiculous, so bad, and he still killed it. You hear what he said?
Yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful. He's good with that. And listen, one of the best things, right, is a couple things in this world. When you walk up the bleachers on the Fenway and you come out and you see the entire stadium, it's a beautiful thing. But, you know, when you turn that corner in the morning and you look and there's people there, it fills you up so much because they're already there. No matter how early I'm trying to get there, there's always somebody there before me. And that is like the best feeling in the world. You know what I'm like? It's because there's so much love and it's there. Yeah. You can feel it. It's tangible there.
Yeah, no, it's I mean, everyone I've ever encountered with is nice. I mean, you know, you're gonna have people who yell. You can't control everybody. It is what it is. You know, to paint that as the whole Karen Reed movement, it's not true. You know what? They all walked up the ramp today. I didn't hear anyone yell. I mean, they walked into the courtroom. They got let in first, like always. But it is what it is at this point. We're at the moment now where everything's going to come to light, and we learned that today. More stuff is coming out, and Brian Higgins, huh?
Mick, real quick, I want to go back to the two motions real quick. You said they both got denied, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So the one that had the 4 people and then the one that had the 513 people, they both got denied. And now what? He's going to the next court above that with both of them?
I believe he's going to combine them, or the way the paper that I posted today, the denial basically had the 4 people and the petitioners on it on one denial. So I don't know how he's going to present it to the higher court.
But he is taking this to the next level.
Yeah, he's appealing it in the full spectrum court. Like I said, I'm not 100% sure, but that's the next step of appeals, I guess. So.
Can you just give him a big thank you from all of us for doing
Yeah, I mean, if you guys are on Twitter, he's on Twitter. You guys can he posted basically everything about this on Twitter. So there's one whole thread with a bunch of comments about it. So, you know, it's all on there. You guys can show him well on there too as well.
But I mean, you can just tell his passion because he's got that drive, that fire inside of him, you know, and he's one again, we're lucky to have people like that on our side. I mean,
I mean, awesome. One thing that what people were saying was, you know, he's not invested in the Karen Reed case, and he said that many times. You know what I mean? Him personally, he doesn't care the outcome of that. He's a 1A lawyer, and he sees injustice with what is going on in this, whether Karen to him is guilty or innocent. That's not what he's here to do. He's here to represent 1A, and that's what he's doing. So, is this the paper?
Yeah, this is the paper from Tom.
I don't know. I've never seen that before.
No. Someone sent that to me. I don't know.
I sent that. That's the paper. It's just, it floats around.
Canines.
Dude, this is sad. I think
they
have more information than they're giving us. Okay. They're giving us vague statements. Okay. And look how crystal clear this is. There's no doubt about what's going on here. As to this paper, there's no doubt about it. But what about us? Like, where do we stand? Is it 200 that way, or is it 200 this way? Who do we ask?
I know.
So we always go on the side of caution. You know,
I'm sure they're gonna try to treat us like cattle. Kind of keep us all in one area versus one, a group on one side of the 200, another group on the other side of the 200. I'm sure they're gonna try to contain it at some point. That's my opinion, but they want to control it. They want to keep, they want to make sure they are in control of what's going on. So
yeah. So I saw someone today, and for a split second it reminded, and I'm just kind of stopped. Like, Mike, can we do like a moment of silence for John, and like a prayer for Karen and her family at the same time, type of thing?
Sure, you want to lead it?
No.
You just kind of started it there, so I think you should finish it.
we'll do that at the end when we close out.
Oh, just a minute. Take it just a second. All right. God, please look over John. Please look over Karen and her family. Please make sure they're all safe. Make sure everyone that supports her is safe. And thank you for giving us the love that you've given us so far, and the strength. I mean, I don't know how we do it, but couldn't do it without your help. And we know John's up there. We know Sandra's up there. And we know they're all looking down at us, and they're proud. They're proud of what we're doing. And we're going to make you prouder, because we're not even done yet. We're not even started. So that's it. Thank you, guys.
All right. Do you have the video of Yannetti?
Yes. Yeah, I want to ask Tom though more about today, because you were outside. I didn't watch any of the video outside. What was the mood like outside, and with Karen too? Because Karen looked happy today, and I also want to ask you about it, Nick, because you were there in the audience. You were close to Karen. You were right behind the family. Like, what was your feeling on that today? What did you get back? You were there. Let's go with Tom first.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I went into the court the first time today ever, and I got to watch an epic sidebar. But the whole time Karen was sitting there, and she's sitting all by herself. Then they tell us to leave, so we all stand up to leave. And I don't know if this happens, but like, Karen's walking out, and she's happy, and she's smiling, and she's talking, and she's giving people a hug, and she's talking and shaking this person's hand, and her dad's over here shaking hands, talking, and there's just a flow of love as she walks out the hallway and down the stairs. And I don't know if that happens before, but I wish I could have taken a picture, but you can't in the courtroom. But that was, I mean, she went to Allison. I swear to God, she picked Allison up like 5 inches off the ground, and just to give her a hug. Like, she was just, I don't know. I seen stuff today that I don't have words for. I don't know what to say. It's pretty crazy,
Dude. It's confidence is what it is. Their confidence in the evidence they have. Listen, we're getting tidbits here. Okay. The trial hasn't started yet. We're getting tidbits, and it's almost like, listen, when Lally said they don't have a third party defense, they haven't given us anything. So what does Yannetti do? Yannetti goes up there and says, "You want the evidence?
Yeah.
We have evidence of X, Y, and Z." And what does Lally do after he comes up? He's like, "Well, that's not evidence. Those are words." Well, yeah, this is the evidence we're going to give you. And maybe you already have it. You just haven't looked for it hard enough. I mean, it's wild how, and then you learn about, the lead investigator and the things he's been doing. It's almost like, hey, Lally, are you sure you want to do this? We're giving you, we're giving you rope here. What are you going to do with it? That's how I look at it. But that defense team has more confidence than anybody. And when people say, "Oh, I don't know," I do not think that David Yannetti and Alan Jackson would not be doing what they're doing if they didn't believe that their client was 1,000% innocent. There's just no way. They're putting their jeopardy and their career and their livelihoods on the line to defend Karen Reed. They wouldn't do it if they didn't believe in it. No way.
No, you're right, 100%.
A defense attorney that didn't believe in their client, with where Karen has the upper ground right now, they'd be working out a plea deal. Hey, Commonwealth, we can end this now. Give her a lesser thing. They're not doing that. They're not even talking about a plea deal. It's not happening. I see it all over the place sometimes. Oh, she's going to take a plea. It's in the works. No, it's not. I don't even think it was a thought in the defense's mind.
Why would she take a plea when they can't process a freaking single human hair? 2 years, guy. 2 years for one piece of hair. And you want to plea against that? Really? Oh, no.
Well, they made so much about
shocked.
that too. Did they make so much like the Kevins of this world, like wanted to focus on that hair, and now it's not even going to be included, right? At all.
Yep. Bingo.
So I mean, they're so full of shit. All their evidence and what Sean on the golf has been saying forever, the taillight and this whole wanless thing. Well, that was today. They didn't have the video. The video disappeared. The video at the Canton police disappeared.
Can you believe that?
Shocking. We're gonna keep talking about the taillight.
Missing footage from a police department. Forget about what it's about, Mike. It's not what it's about. There's missing footage. Period. Dot. That's a serious problem. And she wants how much money for technology and these new flock cameras? She can't manage the ones in her own department. And it's not motion. They record 24/7.
I was just going to say the ones on my house, like they don't stop recording. I mean, why would a police department stop recording? And motion, and he said mostly it's motion activated mostly. Only sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I mean, it's insane. But I right out the gate when Bev kind of snapped at Lally, I was a little shocked by that. She was calling him out on like, where is it? Give me the date that the defense delayed this, and he came back. He's like, December 22nd, they answered me. But you didn't even send the hearing until January 11th. So who's delaying what? Like, you guys have had this here for 2 years and you still don't. Well, you do have an answer from the state police. They said there's no human hair. It's not a human hair. So you do have an answer, but it's not good enough. It's not good enough to get Karen. So what are they going to do? I don't know. I don't think that should be included. It's not even here yet. You don't even have the results.
Exactly. I don't see how it can. Bev has a lot of decisions to make. I wonder how quickly we'll find out. When do you think we'll find out on all these motions from today?
It has to be Monday. I mean, how can you let? I'm surprised. I'm honestly surprised she wasn't not forced, but she didn't make a ruling today. Now the defense team and the Commonwealth is going into the weekend not knowing what they have to prepare for trial. I mean, I feel like majority of the ones that they agreed on, I think there was 7 of them that they didn't even have to argue today because they're like, whatever, we'll agree on that. But some of these ones, they're big decisions. And now my guess is Monday is when we're gonna find out about those.
Bev's gonna be working on holiday Monday, the state holiday.
I was gonna say, isn't that a holiday, Mike? That's like a state one.
And this state it is.
Yeah, it's Bunker Hill
Day. I don't know if you guys noticed today, but I think everyone says Jackson Yannetti. Liza Little, I'm telling you, how many motions did she argue today?
A lot. Okay. She took like the first half.
I'm telling you, she's gonna be a dog during trial. I think they're gonna utilize her a lot more than people think. I think this is gonna be people think it's gonna be a David and Alan show, but I honestly think Liza's gonna have a lot to do with this case.
It's awesome they have 3 of them. 3, like it's like heavyweight. Your fate. Adam Lally is facing 3 heavyweights in a row. It's just like and they're all different. So it's pretty amazing to see. I'm glad you brought
every
up
time he walks into the courtroom, no joke, he goes.
I know, right?
No, every time he walks through that door with the head down, and he does not show confidence. Some lady was just on Court TV today. She's a expert at looking at behaviors and voices and the way people talk, and she analyzed that but what Karen said when she got arrested, and her determination was that what Karen was saying was 100% truthful in the sense of there was no making it up. Like that's what she believed and that's what she was stating. And then you look at Lally, and that is just a man that lacks confidence.
Yeah.
He
Slunch,
doesn't.
like like just the breathing. And you know what? I figured out something on Bev today with her breathing and her sighing. Of course she's sighing. She has to deal with crap like Adam. Imagine if you had to deal with Adam Lally, just not for this trial, but every day for the rest of your life. Like you had to deal with that. Like you would probably sigh too after a while.
Did you notice the trucks outside today? There seems to be the news trucks are gathering. Do you notice that?
Oh, both sides were filled. Usually it's just one side. Both sides were filled today.
So
yeah, I noticed some new
get in on
reporters.
the action.
I noticed Jennifer Egan from WCVB. She used to be at New England Cable News. I like her. I've met her before. She's really nice. She was there today. There was another woman, I think, from NBC. So, and obviously the guy from Boston 25. So it looked like there was like multiple TV reporters, which is good.
Good. Yeah. So what's that paper say, Mike?
Bring it back up.
Let back up. Maybe go over it real quick so people have an idea. Because this is the most we got. Like, this is the best I got, guys. Like, we can't bring in anything else. Oh, speaking about, big shout out to Miss Chrissy Mello. I hope you're feeling better. She is awesome. She's taken so many wonderful pictures. You can't see her because she hides over there because she gets the pictures. But I mean, she's always out there too. She's always on the ground.
So we got this up here, Tom. Anything we should be looking at specifically?
That spirit quarter.
I mean, I think the biggest thing is the parking. No public parking in the lot.
Right. Registry lot, right? That's counted.
Even if you don't have a sign, and yeah, that's interesting. So even if you're in plain clothes, you can't park in there to attend the trial.
Where are we gonna park?
Yeah.
We'll have to find another place. Traffic will flow one way up Old River Place into the registry lot and exit only out onto Ames Street. So they're making that a one-way in, one way out, which for the traffic is okay. That's a safety thing. Let that go. Staffing. We'll have roving maintenance workers. Okay. What if they see something? Blah, blah, blah.
So it looks like a police state is coming for this trial.
I mean, they're locking down the courthouse, which is fine. I mean, we want it safe. They want to run a dog through there to make sure there's nothing bad, which is good. That's keeping everyone safe. I'm all for that.
How much money you think it's going to cost the taxpayers for all this police detail work for the whole trial?
Nick, imagine if nobody showed up and they're all standing around. And the news cameras are everywhere. There's 50 troops all standing there doing what?
I know.
So there you go, guys. See what we can do with that. I don't know.
Got to be interesting on Tuesday morning.
So, Mike, I got a question.
Yeah.
How is it on your end? Like I know how it is outside. Nick knows how it is inside. How is it on your end?
Watching today?
Yeah, everything. Like the chat, the room, the page, any messages, like the feel.
Yeah, I mean our content is blowing up. So that's one perspective. But more than that, I think just watching it myself, I felt like I could see it in the court. Like I was going to ask Nick, if it seemed like you were almost smiling or holding back laughter, like you were trying not to, while Yannetti was speaking, because the bombs he was dropping. Did you feel that way? Because it came out like it felt like the same with watching Karen Reed. I didn't watch what happened outside. I just watched court today, and that's what it felt like to me. Is that what you felt like, Nick?
I mean, honestly, I just when he speaks, I just have an idea of where he's going with things, and it's just amazing how much he brings forward, and no matter what, like I kid you not, I could not believe she interrupted David Yannetti in the middle of his explanation to
Yeah.
a third party defense to ask the woman who's speaking into the microphone if she needs a 10-minute break. This woman has never been spoken to in court before. And then all of a sudden, when things start getting hot,
Yeah, think about it. That's
he
how and to me impressive Yannetti was. It's like it got so hot in there they had to take a break. Yannetti raised the
first
temperature
off,
in that place.
he got pissed. He got pissed right away because she hit him with the third party right away, and she's like, "You didn't file a motion." He's like, "Yeah, because they got put in 2 days ago, and I was gonna be here today, and I'm gonna argue it. What's the difference if it's on paper or if I tell you how I feel or how it is? There's no difference." And he'll put it in writing if he needs to be. But I can tell you, if you watch his body language right from the beginning, he was heated and he could not wait to argue this. He could not wait to let everybody know what Brian Higgins has been up to, breaking SIM cards, breaking phones. I mean, the well text. What's that mean? A jury's going to have to interpret what that means. Like, I don't know. I know how I feel about it. I know what I think about it, and that is, from what I heard, John and Karen didn't speak to Brian Higgins at the waterfall. And they leave. Oh, well, I assume that text means like, oh, you didn't talk to me while I was here. Like, oh, where you going? What's going on? And then all of a sudden, John gets a text, not Karen, about showing up to the house. I don't know how a jury is going to look at this stuff that's going to be brought forwards and not feel the same way we do. It's just unbelievable, especially if they lay out the facts that they did today, just like that. And even if they can't mention the FBI investigation, they don't need to. These are very smart people. They know how to ask questions that the witnesses are going to answer for them. Who did you tell the truth to? I told the truth to a federal grand jury. And how did you appear there? I got summons there by the U.S. Attorney's Office. They don't have to say the words FBI. They know it's going to come out and how it's going to come out. It's just a matter of if we're going to hear lots of objections. We know that every word, every sentence the defense says, you're going to hear objection. How's Judge Bev going to rule on them? We'll see. But
that's the big elephant in the room. Like what is Judge Beverly Canone gonna do about whether she allows a third party defense, whether she allows them to talk about Michael Proctor and his internal affairs, about Michael Lank and his lawsuits in the past.
That is where I think if you remember, Lally said, "Oh, we don't want them to go bad character." I could see that with the whole, because I think the defense put the Lopalato case forward. Like, look at this guy. Look what he did for Chris Albert. That's in the past. I can understand that. I can understand how it relates to this case as well. But I think that's what he meant when he's saying, you can't bring that up. But as far as what Michael Proctor has done and why he's under internal affairs investigation and why he's under federal investigation is very much relevant to this case. So I think the jury, 100% should know that there's something bigger going on.
Absolutely.
So
I don't see how she excludes it, but if she does, how do you think people will feel? Like, I think that people
excludes
will be
what?
The third party defense and the Michael Proctor stuff.
From what I'm understanding, it's called third party. Is it Bowden? Something like that.
Yep.
They're gonna have grounds on that. As far as just a plain third party culprit, I'm not sure. She might deny that, but again, these are very smart attorneys. They're gonna get the evidence out one way or another. Like, no matter how they have to do it, it's gonna come out. Just by the questions that are asked. They're like, why didn't you come out of your house? You didn't hear sirens. You didn't see lights. Your dog wasn't barking. Why did you not come out of the house? There's no way around it. I really don't think there is. So no matter, whether the Aruba trip gets put in, whether it doesn't get put in, I don't think it's relevant because there's a lot of hearsay in it. It's a lot of, she told me this and he told me that. And I saw him get mad. It's a lot of hearsay. So Lally's trying to say, oh, the whole month basically the whole month she was plotting to do this, and then she did it on that day in front of a police officer's house with 13 people inside the house where there are cameras everywhere. That's where she decided to do it.
Right.
Karen break her phone.
Like, come on.
Yeah, she didn't break her phone. She didn't delete her messages.
Give me the ring footage.
She didn't delete her friend's phone numbers, her uncle or whatever.
No, but she didn't answer Carl.
Lank had access to the ring camera footage that he wasn't even on duty, yet he shows up out of the blue, just like that paper. Whoa, imagine what else I'm going to find, people. Listen, I want Higgins' phone records. I want
the feds have them. We don't need them.
No.
We don't need them. The feds have them. How do you think they knew about the calls and the tech? I mean, he got confronted with everything. These people have been confronted with everything. And I don't know. You know, people say, how do they still show up and this and that? And it's like, you know, listen, I don't have an answer for that. I don't. But ultimately, I think we learned more than the Commonwealth wanted to be exposed today. And I don't know. I feel very good. I mean, I got 10 messages today, and people were like, "Oh my God, your face reactions." I didn't even realize I was doing it. It's just when you actually listen to it. And I was watching the other side, and when they were talking about Brian Higgins and his relationship with Berkowitz, and you know, Berkowitz is being seen with the vehicle, like. But this guy was on medical leave. He shouldn't even have been at the police department. And he's calling in to open the Sally port. So whatever time he called to open that Sally port, you know that Sally port opened within 5 seconds to 10 seconds of that phone call. And if the cameras were motion censored at whatever time he called, 5:36, let's call it, that camera should have been on. And what did Yannetti say? When that camera did come on, there was people standing around her vehicle. So were those people standing still? And then one of them moved, and boom, camera's on 42 minutes later. Like, no.
Why were they even there standing around the vehicle at all?
Listen, the defense asked for this camera footage, okay? So what do? They have two options. We turn it over as is, and we expose the whole thing, or we turn it over with 42 minutes missing and say, it's motion censored. What do you want us to do? Just like the library. I don't even know who made that up. I don't know if Lally made that up, or if someone on Twitter made up the motion sensor camera for the library. Come on.
Can I say something, people? If they're missing 42 minutes of footage, think of what they're missing in the evidence room. That's where they store cash, guns, drugs, people's belongings, rings, everything. Evidence locker. If they can't keep track of 42 minutes of footage on their system, you know, the question is, has that happened before? Has there been a gap prior or since then, either way, of 42 minutes missing of anything else? Or give me 5 minutes of missing footage. It doesn't happen. Nick, back again. Here we are. We're going to argue. How's this go forward, guy? How do they allow this to keep going forward?
The trial?
Yeah. Why are we here right now? What? Why? How?
Well, my opinion is Michael Morrissey's career, life is on the line if he does not get a not guilty. If he gets a guilty verdict, he could be okay. You know, hey, feds, I was right. You don't have to look at me no more. But there's other cases and there's other things, obviously, the feds are looking at besides the Karen Reed case. But I think that's his only option, is to push forward. That's the only option. I mean, what's he going to do? Back out now and be like, you know what? You guys were right. No, he would never. Because then guess what? That jeopardizes his everything for him. Well, what other cases did you screw up on that you pushed so hard against? And it's I think a lot bigger than, you know, everyone's like, when are the feds going to move in? Are they coming in tomorrow? Are they coming in on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? Listen, we don't know. Eventually they're going to move.
Yeah, it could be a year from now. And
it could be a year, 2 years. We don't know. I mean,
I want to ask you, there was comments about a proffer agreement. Is there a proffer agreement that was offered to Higgins? Did we hear that right? somewhere today?
I mean, it was on. I believe it was on your stream at like around the 16-minute mark on one of your
And that came
streams
from
there, where
Yannetti?
he said something about a proffer and Higgins. They were talking about like a cell phone. And he was telling the truth. I mean, something else that I believe it was Alan Jackson said when they were talking about potential witnesses. Alan Jackson had said 3 federal agent experts, and then kind of went off topic. So I don't know if they have those people on their witness list. You know,
Gotta be crazy to see.
that's going to have to come out. I mean, think about it though for a second. It makes sense. They have reconstructionists that were hired by the FBI, who all hold PhDs. Okay, and then you have the FBI expert that also did the Google search. These are experts that are witnesses to this case.
And then this coroner they mentioned too was another one. So it's like they got a few. This is going to be exciting. Let's play some of the video. Let's play some of the video. We can comment on it.
So therefore, if John O'Keefe was not hit by a car, that means that Karen Reed did not kill him. And we know that John O'Keefe did not die of natural causes. This was not a heart attack or a stroke. John O'Keefe was injured. He was mortally injured. If he was not hit by a car, as both our expert and FBI confirmed, then he was attacked. And if he was not hit by a car, then there is a third-party culprit or culprits. So by asking this court to prohibit the defense from introducing evidence that others had the motive, opportunity, and the means to attack John O'Keefe, the Commonwealth is essentially asking this court to prohibit Karen Reed from being able to defend herself.
So I don't think they're asking that you be prohibited from doing that. They're asking first to have you tell them what that is.
Right. Well, this is, Your Honor, I'm getting to that in terms of.
All right, so go ahead. You have your remarks.
That we're either required to give them or not. It is not our job to solve this case for the prosecution. It's our contention. They had the opportunity to do that, but they failed. It is not our job to name a specific third-party culprit. We do not have to prove that Brian Albert or Colin Albert or Brian Higgins or some combination of them intended to kill John O'Keefe. We don't have to prove that any of them attacked John O'Keefe such that he eventually died. They have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that they didn't. But the fact of the matter is there is evidence that all 3 of them had a motive, had the opportunity and the means to attack John O'Keefe. Now, the Commonwealth cites Commonwealth versus Conkey in their motion, and as this court started the discussion on this issue when you first took the bench, Conkey makes clear that a defendant has a constitutional right to argue that somebody else may have committed the crime. And certainly, no, the acts of that person can't be too attenuated in time or method of operation, as Mr. Lally mentions. But in terms of being the right time period, Your Honor, you can't get any closer than their presence at the scene at the very time that John O'Keefe was killed. And in terms of the method of operation, given that we have evidence that he was not hit by a car and that he was attacked, all 3 of these men, either alone or in combination, possessed the ability to attack him with or without a weapon. I mean, it's a very low standard here. The Commonwealth acknowledges that. It's a low standard of simple relevance. And the evidence here establishes relevance. Now, I would note, Your Honor, the Commonwealth cites Commonwealth versus Finney. I don't know if they realize this, but that was my case. I represented Roland Douglas Finney before the Supreme Judicial Court, and I represented him at his motion for new trial and at his retrial. And that case, the Finney case, provides strong support for the introduction of third-party culprit evidence here, irrespective of a Bowdoin defense. In fact, the reason that Mr. Finney's conviction was overturned was that his trial counsel failed to pursue a third-party culprit defense. And Your Honor, the third-party culprit defense in Finney was weaker, far weaker than the third-party culprit defense we have here. The evidence of motive in that case was that the third-party culprit made derogatory.
All right, I'm gonna stop right there. We're gonna listen to more of this, but there's Nick smiling on the screen, and he's on the screen live now with us, which is awesome. But I love how Yannetti right here just basically says that he's quoting a case that he was a part of.
He knows it. Well,
It's almost like the Commonwealth. They find a case, they read the first sentence, and they're like, "Oh, we'll throw this one in there." Like, did you not think to look who the attorney was in that case? I mean, that was a laughable moment. It's like, yeah, you're referring to a case that I was the lawyer on. I know all about it, and I know how it worked. Like that was, yeah, that's
Pretty good. Pretty. I mean, that just right off the bat.
Statements
here.
about the victim after she was murdered. No witness in that case put the two of them together. No witness in that case put the third-party culprit at the scene of the murder where the victim was murdered. There was some consciousness of guilt evidence similar to what we have in this case. But in Finney, the SJC ruled that not only was that enough for a defense attorney to present a third-party culprit defense, but he was ineffective for not doing so. And as the court has also touched upon, the SJC found that on the basis of that third-party culprit evidence, which is weaker than what we have here, there were substantial connecting links between that third-party culprit that justified the admission of hearsay in that case. And I want to make it clear, we're not looking to introduce any hearsay statements, so we don't need substantial connecting links here. Now, Your Honor, I could go through with the court the specific evidence we have with regard to motive, opportunity, and means with regard to the three Commonwealth witnesses that I've named.
So go ahead.
Happy to do it. Starting with Brian Higgins. He was present.
This is like, you want me to name them? Okay, let's name some people. Let's call you. You're asking me to do this. Well,
that was one thing I noticed about her today is she called Lally out on the date of how how did the defense delay the hair? Show me the date. He couldn't do that. And then same with the video. When he lied about the video, he was not expecting Judge Bev to be like, can you show me this video?
what happened?
He wasn't expecting that. And he looked like a fool. He straight up lied.
His bluff got called quite a few times today.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely
Fairview.
It felt a little different. She was definitely giving pressure to the Commonwealth for sure.
So this guy, that Lally, who's prosecuting Karen, cites a case that he did himself and won. Why would you plea against that? Who's smart enough to even bring that up? I don't understand. Why do I hear that word? Why is that even? Why would you plea against something like that? That's like being completely sober and someone getting arrested for drunk driving, blowing 0.0.
Yeah. That's like Kevin talk. It's ridiculous.
On January 28th to 29th. He was close friends with the homeowner, Brian Albert. He had a prior romantic interest in Karen Reed. He did not expect Karen and John O'Keefe to be at the Waterfall, that bar, on January 28th. Karen Reed did not greet Higgins, despite the fact that they had previously exchanged flirtatious texts and that she had been at his apartment one evening, although there was nothing that took place between them any more than a peck of a kiss. At the Waterfall, Higgins does not engage with John O'Keefe. He does not say goodbye to John O'Keefe and Karen when he leaves, but before he leaves, he texts Karen, and that text was something to the effect of, well, with a lot of M's. We know that there was a preservation order from this court, your predecessor, Judge Krupp, to preserve his cell phone, and that Trooper Proctor gave him an edict an order to serve on Brian Higgins, and he left it at the front desk of the Canton Police Station for him. And that Higgins, we learned through the federal investigation, Higgins became angry, demanded that Proctor come back, and he essentially upbraided him and read him the riot act, which shows a little bit about Higgins' personality. At the end of the night, everyone discussed going back to 34 Fairview. And when he gets back to 34 Fairview, he texts not Karen, he texts John O'Keefe at 12:20 a.m. He testified before the federal grand jury that he had no knowledge that they had been invited to 34 Fairview, but that is contradicted by this text message. And the inference is that he was coaxing John to come to that house. And, you know, we're not saying this gives him a motive to kill John, but we don't have to show that. Any motive to feel hostility or animosity towards John O'Keefe goes to his motive. And Your Honor, when Brian Higgins and Brian Albert are in that house, they're the only two people who are unaccounted for when the rest of the group was in the kitchen. And they claimed that they were looking at photographs together. And we have evidence that they were in the basement. We believe that Brian Albert made a mistake before the state grand jury by testifying they went upstairs to look at photos. Brian Higgins says unequivocally that the only place the two went was into the living room to look at photos and military ribbons, whatever they were looking at. Brian Higgins did not know that Brian Albert had said they went upstairs. And he also testified he had never been upstairs at Brian Albert's house in his life. That means that if Brian Albert said they went upstairs, they're coming up from the basement. And before leaving 34 Fairview, Brian Higgins testified he was parked right in front of the mailbox. He would have had to have walked by where John O'Keefe's body was. His headlights, when he got in his vehicle, would have been illuminating where John O'Keefe's body would have been in the yard if it were actually there. So how does he not see it? He then goes back to the Canton Police Station at 1:30 in the morning after leaving 34 Fairview. He claimed to do some administrative work, but then he admitted to the federal grand jury that he was there to move his car because of the upcoming snowstorm. This suggests that he was fabricating a reason for going back to Canton Police to establish an alibi for himself. He was asked several times at the federal grand jury if he had any conversations with anyone before he went to bed. And when was he notified that John O'Keefe was dead? In the morning, he said.
I just want to stop there. I mean, it's hard to keep track of all the lies.
That's wrong. 100%. What he just said, I know is wrong.
What?
Because I know it. What he just mentioned.
No, what? What
is wrong?
Higgins made no phone calls. He said. Well, we know he was text. But
that's what Higgins is saying. Higgins is saying that.
Higgins said he made no phone calls.
Right.
I call bullshit on that.
Well, we know it's bullshit because the feds have the call back to Brian Albert at 2:22 in the morning.
I'm separate. Something else.
What do you mean?
Well, let's stick to what we know, Tom. Officially on the record here, because we have shit on the record.
What was the video?
These guys are lying. That's what Yanetti's saying.
How can they go forward with all these lies? They don't make sense. None of them do.
Listen, if you realize something, okay, when you talked about Higgins and when you talked about Brian and we talked about Colin, they had a lot of information on Brian Higgins. Go back to the proffer, where I mean, why do they have so much about what? How the hell do you figure out someone breaks their SIM card? I mean, come on, like, I don't know. That just
and for people in the chat, because people in the chat were talking about this, I know what a proffer is. For people that don't know, it's basically a federal agreement when the U.S. attorney gives you the opportunity for you to confess your crimes, and they won't be used against you.
And it doesn't even have to. It's not even necessarily crimes. It's what you really what you know. What do you know?
Tell everything you know.
Yeah,
and they won't charge you. That's basically what why you would go with a
Do you remember like months ago? There was a video of Brian Albert and Brian Higgins in the bar, and they were kind of like they were going like this, like making like movements and stuff. Was that at the waterfall?
Before they left.
It was at the waterfall, yeah. Because I mean, you play that video, it kind of shows like they're roughhousing, or I don't want to say planning it, but. Because I do not believe that anybody intentionally killed John O'Keefe. I think this was an accident. I think that it was a fight gone wrong. I don't think they lured him to that house to kill him. I think if he was lured to that house, it was to have a scruff. I mean, what are you gonna do? Nobody means. I mean, I shouldn't say nobody, but in this situation, it's not something you kill someone over, especially if it was just over a girl. I mean, you're not killing someone over that.
Usually these types of things are just, fights that get out of hand, and someone, I mean, it's easy to kill someone in a fist fight. People don't think that. That's why I avoid them, even though I've been trained. Like, because if someone hits their head,
Yeah,
you
you knock
basically
someone out in a
whack
bar,
someone
they
and
hit their
go
friggin' head on the
unconscious
bar on the
and
way
whack them.
down,
Yeah.
Bad
and,
things
and they're
happen. That's
dead.
right. You're right. Bad things happen when that
But
happens.
now that video makes more sense, of they were kind of wrestling in the bar. I mean, who knows what they were talking about? Like, dude, I'm gonna fuck him up when he comes back to the house. Like, we don't know what was said, but we can only see what we see with our eyes. And then you put it together. Now it's like we could put that piece of puzzle in now. Now everything's starting to gel. It's this trial is gonna be interesting.
It's gonna be crazy. Let's play some more of this video. This was amazing today. It really was. I don't even know. If someone mentioned like, what's Kevin gonna say now? I'm like, doesn't even matter anymore. Like, it's just, I don't know what these guys are gonna say on the other side now, because it's. You said it best tonight, Nick. You said we'll give something for the trolls to talk about tonight.
But you know what? It doesn't, honestly, it really doesn't matter what they say.
No.
Like, people go back and forth with them. I stay off Twitter. Or just anywhere. There's really no point of arguing our side. I truly believe it. I'm always willing to, spread the information I know, but I'm not here to fight with anybody. This is not, I don't dislike anyone personally. I feel like they attack this side because specific individuals in this case have been attacked, and it's like, oh, we got their back. I don't know. I don't see the point of it. What does it do? 5,000 people see a meme of Tom or me or Chrissy. Like, it's like, wow, I've scrolled on things before and I see memes and I'm like, who the hell is it? Like, it's irrelevant. People, unless you know about this, but it's like, I don't know. I just think that going personal with this stuff is it's a joke.
You want to say anything about it, Tom?
Yeah. I mean, there's a bunch of us that kind of wear that as a badge of honor. Like, you see the meme against you? Like, no, show me. And it's like, all right, we laugh about it.
I loved one of my favorites was the Love Boat one, Tom.
Yes.
Did you see that? You were the bartender. I'm jealous. I wanted to be Isaac the bartender. They made me the doctor.
Listen,
I'm waiting for the bracket to come out. They're slacking on that bracket.
Right.
We're already in like we're already in like the elite
Wait,
8 or something.
what are your
right now.
seeds? I'm a 2 seed. What are you, Dick? A 1?
No, I think I'm a 2 seed, but
Oh, so we're both
that
2
bracket though was made by someone on our side. That's
Yeah.
not their bracket. They haven't
But I think
posted
that was a
theirs yet.
fair rating. It's probably better than what they do. What seed are you, Tom?
the one I'm in now. Other than that, I was getting all kind of fighting back and forth on the Twitter thing, and then they made fun of my friend Lorena.
Oh, dude, that's brutal. But you know what?
And she
She's
made
a
that
trooper.
her profile picture, and after that, I honestly don't care. If that's how you handle it, she showed me. I'll follow her because I'm not going against that.
Listen, I'll say she is a trooper. She rolls with it. Like, I don't know if you guys saw the wheelchair they did. It was the two in the pink, one in the snake. Like, that was funny. And she has a great sense of humor about it. She's like, oh well, it is what it is, and that's an amazing attitude and to have, especially when when people are attacking you. Like, it doesn't bother me, at least, and I know it doesn't bother her. And
After that, man, how can anything bother you? That shows you this is what you do, and it's I feel so much better. I'm just not looking at that trash. But again, like, I have to go see Olivia. I have to read her. Just the normal people. So
Yeah.
It's just, I wish Twitter was. I'm sorry. I wish X was a little more moderated. It could be something, but
I love it though, because you don't have to worry that something you post is gonna get tricked, unless it's really.
I don't know. You might
overblown.
get the FBI on your door though. I've been seeing a lot of things going on. People are getting like visits for like tweets they post. Like that guy went to jail for posting a Hillary Clinton tweet. That's wild. I'm sorry, but it was a tweet. Like
I don't know what you're talking about, but
you didn't hear about that? Oh
No.
my. Oh, but anyways,
I just be
let's-
careful what you post about politicians. That's my
yeah.
so what,
especially yeah. But I guess where do you guys want to leave it tonight? Because we've talked a lot about the Supreme Judicial Court looking at the protests, and now we're talking about the trial. We could play some more video too. We have more video. Let's play the rest. But you guys have any final thoughts too, though? That I just want to make sure you get them in before we go back to the video.
I mean, I think the last thing that I would say is this is going to be a roller coaster. We may hear things that our side may not like as far as, potentially a relationship between Brian Higgins and Karen. But at the end of the day, I don't care. To me, it does not mean she killed a man. Just be ready. Just be ready, because this is the last year that I've put into this, at least, is going to be coming to an end in about 45 days. And I realized that the other day that, everything I put into this is what we were, obviously we would have liked this to be dismissed a long time ago, but this is what we have worked for. And this is what the billboard was for, to let people know about what's going on. And ultimately, it's going to play out in the courtroom, regardless of whether we're out front of the courthouse, which as of right now we can't be, or we're 200 feet away. I'm very confident in the defense team, and I'm very confident with the evidence that they're going to bring forward. And I believe that they are very confident in it. And I think just buckle up. There's nothing we can do from here besides, give our opinion and report on what's being told in the courtroom, but just buckle up. That's all I can say.
And a couple questions came up. Someone wanted to know about the Canton 8, because you're one of the Canton 8. You've been waiting to find out what's going to happen about your protest. What's going on with that?
I mean, your guess is as good as mine, but I'd say two things are going to happen. They're going to wait for this case to be over. When she's found not guilty, they're either going to throw our case out or just never talk to us again. They're just going to, forget about it. Just like it never happened, and just never give us an answer. I don't know. I mean, are they going to wait 6 months and be like, oh yeah, by the way, we found probable cause, and you got to be arraigned now? Like, I don't know. I can't see it. I can't see it moving forward. I think it was a chilling effect. Don't come to Canton no more. This is going to happen to you again. And it worked. It worked. When's the last time you saw a protest? I mean, other than down at the police station, but that was like a week or two after this happened. But since no one's been down there. That, unfortunately they got what they wanted, and it is what it is. But I think everyone's fighting the same battle here, and we're all gonna be on the right side of the truth at the end of this.
I want to thank you for both of you guys for your contributions. You've been doing so much fundraising, and just even for me, what I look at, one of the most valuable things that you do, Nick, is you always post the documents, the court documents. I love looking on the justice group and seeing them, and all the news updates. Like, you're always updating, giving people information, which is really valuable for someone like myself that's a streamer in the media. So I want to thank you for everything you've been doing. People are asking, are there any more fundraisers going? Like, what should people be donating money? Where should they be helping out right now?
So I mean, we're gearing up in trial. So Karen, her giveaway right now is a trip to Myrtle Beach. I believe it's a 4-night stay on Myrtle Beach. You got water park tickets, you got go-kart tickets. You do have to buy your flights, but you get a free stay for a $25 donation to Karen's Defense Fund. I've seen people do, one entry and they win, and then other people do 10 entries and they don't win. So it's the luck of the draw. Turtle Boy, I just posted his new giveaway right now. It's 6 bottles of wine, 2 bottles of red wine, 4 bottles of white wine. And then I believe this is gonna kind of be how I'm gonna finish out the giveaways. Is I have a giveaway that I'm gonna run for Karen, and it is I believe I'm going to run it out for the whole remainder of the trial. It's going to be a 14-day stay in Italy. And it is at a Karen Reed supporter. She lives in Italy. She owns a home, and she has a 1-bedroom apartment underneath her house. So basically, don't think of like Rome. Think of like you are living in Italy with the old school Italians, where the house next door is the bakery. The mountain is the view in the background. I mean, if you want a old school experience, this is going to be it. And
Country.
I will say I don't enter any of the giveaways because I don't need anybody saying I spun the wheel 10 times until my name hit. I don't need that. But I will say, after seeing the pictures that she sends me of just where she lives, I do want to enter this one. I may enter. It's the last one. I may enter it because, I mean, and realistically, it's kind of whenever you want. There's no date on it. You just have to work it out with the person who is giving this away, and this one's going to be a good one. So I am going to I think I'm going to finish out with this as the last one, and to date. And Tom remembers this from the beginning. I think when me and Tom first started talking in this movement, I think my goal was $5,000. My first goal, I said, you know what? Hey, I want to raise $5,000 for this one.
Yep.
And then it went to 10. And today, between the giveaways, the fundraising of the events, the donations for all the billboard trucks, every penny that has gone to Karen Reed's movement that has been donated just through this group to date, $126,000.
Amazing.
I mean, that's, I don't know. And honestly, the credit is due to literally everybody that brings my ideas, to life. I could run a giveaway and no one enters it, and then it's useless, right? It's useless. But everybody always, there's always something for everyone, and everybody always pitches into these things. And, just to hire Mark the other day, 3 people sent me, $8,000 to hire this guy. 3 people. It's amazing. And all the credit goes to this group. I mean, I've never seen anything like this personally. And the trust that they give me, I'm honored with that. I find myself, I'm very transparent. I don't hide things. Look at the billboard, the second billboard, for example. Okay. I got dicked around just as much as everyone else got dicked around, but I was letting you know, hey, look, I'm getting dicked around here
the whole time.
Like, these are the emails. This is what's going on. I got the money back. I donated it to the defense fund. Like, there's no games here.
You know what's hilarious is that you were so transparent, and it became like a storyline in Canton because there was a Canton slush fund happening.
Right.
And the town selectmen with the same company that you were talking about.
Right. Yeah. So it's like, I have nothing to hide. Every dollar has gone where it's supposed to go. I've made no money off this. It's cost me money. You know how many packages I've shipped with giveaways? A lot of those things I can't just throw a stamp on it. I gotta actually ship them out. $5 a package.
Exactly.
When I was doing the Alex and Ani bracelets, and I was sending out like 20 packages, 20 times $5 a package. I'm in this more than I've ever gained.
Right.
I know
all about
amazing.
that. I was giving out some giveaways too when I was doing the fundraisers, like the T-shirts and the bumper stickers, and it's just a lot of work. Number one, not even the money; it's a lot of work. Like, you have to go to the post office, you got to fill out the shit. It's a lot. So thank you, and you were doing it like times 1,000 of what I was doing.
I will say the worst thing was the bracelets. Oh my god,
bracelets,
mailing out those bracelets, man. What? Those were a pain in the butt, but they're all sold. I think there was like 500 bracelets total that were eventually sold, and it's amazing. But Tom, you got anything? I think I'm good on.
Tom, what do you think?
I like second everything Nick says. $126,000. And what's that? That's in a year, right? It's about a year.
Well, I mean, the first giveaway I ran was in July.
No, you didn't start this fund till later on. Aiden wrote the story about a year ago, and then you didn't start the fund till 6 months in at least.
I didn't start the defense fund. That's not mine. That's Alan Jackson's. I started just doing the first giveaway I did was in July. It was right before her first court date. I raffled off shampoo and conditioner, and it made $700. So I was like, oh, maybe this is gonna work. Maybe this is. And then it was Patriots tickets. Now it's trips to friggin' Italy. I mean, come on.
From day one, you and Jenna have done nothing but push this cause out and costing you money sometimes and whatnot. And people, I don't think people understand how amazing you two are together and what you do for the cause. But your part of the cause is just that part of it. And everybody does their part. And like Nick said, this is like nothing I've ever seen. And I've seen stuff. This is next level stuff. We're brought together for a reason. I mean, Mike does what he does. He does it great. And everyone, Aiden does his part, and Will does his part. And I mean, everyone does that piece, right? And it works. And
Amazing. It's been amazing to see the Sean McDonough, Melanie Little. We could go on and on and on and on. Like Tom, I mean, what you've been doing, the streaming. I know you get some shit sometimes, but dude, you're amazing too. You're
You're
there
always
every
welcome,
fucking
man.
time watching. You know, for me, I get to watch. I can't get there, so I'm watching your streams like 9 times out of 10. Watching.
Yeah,
Tom
but you know
go.
what? There's 900,000 people watching with you. So you're allowing all these people to stay informed. So it really is. Everybody does their own part in this movement. And I mean, to say that there's multiple people, like Tom said, that lead in their, if you want to call it, department, because we're the PR team in the firm, so we all work in different departments here. But yeah, I mean, and honestly, it gels so well. Like me and Tom talk, but we don't coordinate things. Me and Mike talk, but we don't coordinate things. And it just happens to be that everything just smoothly runs together. You know what I mean? Like without even talking to one another, it just happens to be like, it just works. It just works.
so, I mean, I don't know what we could do more, right? I mean, Nick, the giveaways, Italy, right? You're talking Italy. You got a 14-day trip to Italy. Does the other side have a contest like this?
Contest,
No,
I
you might
mean,
be able to get a joint from Grant, maybe. I don't know. You probably have to buy it for him.
Yeah, you have to buy it.
You have to buy it from him.
In Myrtle Beach. I mean, these are vacations for people to go and unplug and go away. Paul's there now, and I hope he's enjoying it.
There was another vacation. Where was the other vacation? I feel like there was another one. I got a whole list. Listen, I've kept track of everything. Yeah. God forbid. You know what I mean? It's like I could back up everything. It's all there.
But again, all these people together, I think that what we've done as a whole, and everyone being brought together. I mean, we have friends. People have friends, lifelong friends now.
Right.
I think what we've done is something so. We caught lightning in a bottle.
We did.
We really did. You know, and we should be proud of that. Not rest on our laurels, but we did a lot, and we really need people to come to Karen's trial when it starts. You're not going to get arrested. It's going to be safe. When we don't want any trouble, we're going to follow the rules. But Karen is, I'm sure, would like to see people supporting her. I mean, put yourself in her position. I can't, but my God. You know, even
I mean, I'll say this, regardless if she sees anybody out there, she knows how hard we fought to get rid of this buffer. You know, we're still fighting. We're appealing it again. So regardless if she sees us, she knows what's up. She knows everyone supports her still. And she knows the reason why we're not there. You know what I mean? Because if that buffer zone wasn't there, she knows we'd be there. So I don't think, I will say, everyone, you know, if you can get, I'm going to try to be there as much as I can, outside and inside. I'm expecting a lot of her friends and family to come in. You know, I've been fortunate enough to sit in the second row because, you know, she has her family there, but not all of them are there yet. So, you know, you may fill the whole courtroom. So, you know, I'm going to be out there some days with you guys as well. And it's.
Do you know how long court will go? Like on certain days, how late will it go?
Well, the long days, you're going to go 9 to 4 with
9 to
with a
4.
lunch break from 1 to 2. Half days, I'm going to guess they're going to call it at 1. Depending on where they're at. If they're going to start something new, maybe they'll stop it for the next day. But they're going to be long days, man. There's going to be so much information that like you guys are going to be streaming for like days. It's going to be wild. But what time is it now? Almost
10.
11. All right. So the other thing, while I was in court today, I got a text message from Jammin again, and they wanted me to come on Friday, basically to talk about some things that was going on in the trial. And I was like, listen, it's gonna be jury selection. Not much is happening, but like I'm in court now and shit's going down. I'm like, let's talk Monday. So I might be on Monday again. If I am on, it's probably going to be around 8:30 in the morning to talk about basically what happened in court today. And so it's interesting. The one thing I noticed about them before I told them what side I was on of this, the first thing they told me was that everybody in that studio believed it to be a cover-up. And I was actually surprised to hear that on a radio station that isn't, like a political thing. Like this is
Right.
Jim, and you have listeners from all over the spectrum.
Exactly.
They don't know who's listening. And for them to openly say that,
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty big for them to say.
That's a big, people know that Jam in 94.5, big station in Boston, #1 ratings in the morning, especially. So that's huge that you're on there, and they all agree.
Yeah. So they want to keep talking about it. So I'll, that's what they want. I told them, I was like, you got my number, call anytime.
And see, full circle. That's what we started talking about, is all these different people with all these TV stations. And now, Nick, you're getting radio involved, That's big,
Yeah.
bud. And then Aiden was on Howie Carr. I mean, we're getting out there. How far out do you think we're going to get? Do you think this is going to pop? Or does it depend on what's happened nationally for this to actually be a story?
I mean,
I think this is it's just going to get bigger and bigger, especially as the trial goes on.
Yeah, I think once this trial starts, it's going to be everywhere. I mean, the people who have not heard about it are going to hear about it. It's just going to be everywhere. You're not going to be able to avoid this. And especially when the truth really starts coming out, I think you're going to see a lot of havoc going on, a lot of scrambling going on. So we'll see what happens. But Mike, I appreciate you having me on the show tonight. You got, like I said, if anybody was streaming, you put this together. And Tom, you had offered too. So that's why I was like, you know what, we'll do the three of us together. We'll all be included because it's not about just individuals here. So I do appreciate you giving the time tonight to kind of chat about this stuff, because, I mean, keeping it in all day. So when I left court, I had to go straight to work. So my clients got an earful. Like they heard it all. I was going off like when I was at work today. I just couldn't stop. I had to talk about it. So I'm glad I was able to come on here and also talk about it as well.
Awesome. I love it too, because sometimes I talk to my dog customers too about it. And I was just like, I don't know if they really want to hear about it right now.
Well, and I told them all my clients know, like when they come in on the days I can't be at trial, like it's going to be on the speaker in the salon. I mean, and I wouldn't all my clients know, like what it is when you get your haircut, you're going to be hearing Alan Jackson. I'm sorry if you have to hear Adam Lally, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
You're gonna
This is going to be crazy on Tuesday when they start doing jurors, and to see what happens with these. I also got to shout out Microdots. We shouted out a lot of good people. Microdots is in the chat. We love Microdots. Awesome. Let's play some more video. Let's watch this guy, because he just. Someone said in my I cut this up because I cut off the little part just to because we had that long video today, and I wanted people just to see what I thought was like the best part was this Yannetti. And someone said this is like the 7th time I watched this today, but it just gets better and better. It's like, yeah, I mean, how many times can we watch it today? We'll keep watching it, because this was just, we've been waiting for this.
I feel like every time you listen to him, you pick up on something else. It's like, wait, what?
Exactly.
What?
So
he did what?
People were predicting this. They say bombs were going to be dropping today, and they definitely did.
Oh, there's more coming, I would say.
He testified under the pains and penalties of perjury that he had absolutely no contact with any person that night for any reason whatsoever. But he apparently was surprised that the federal authorities had subpoenaed his phone records, and he had to admit, and he did admit under oath, he made that 2:22 a.m. phone call around the same about 5 minutes before Jennifer McCabe is Googling how long to die in the cold, about 8 minutes before Brian Loughran, the plow driver, first drives by the house and sees no body at all. And the next morning, Brian Higgins, the first person he spoke to was Brian Albert.
I'm going to stop you for a minute. I think we need a break, Madam Court Reporter.
It's too hot in here.
Do you need a break? Can you go? How much longer do you think you have with this, Mr. Yannetti?
Too hot in here.
How many more pages or how long you think?
Yeah, I've got about, in terms of my recitation of the facts, I've done about a page and a half, and I've got 3 left.
Madam Court Reporter, would you like to take a little break? It's hot in here and you've been going nonstop. Okay, let's take a 10-minute break.
Stop it.
All right, Mr. Yannetti, go right ahead.
Thank you.
He's like, oh, I can finish telling you all my evidence that
I
you
left
wanted
off
now.
with the
Right.
morning of.
Now that you've cooled off, I'll heat you back up. I mean, it literally
I
got
think she
too
said
hot
in
in
quotes,
there.
she's like,
Throwing
what'd you
so
say?
many
Oh,
bombs.
she's like, he's cute.
Your wife likes Yannetti, huh?
Oh,
That may be a freebie.
January 29th. The first person that Brian Higgins spoke to was Brian Albert. He had missed a call from Chief Kenneth Berkowitz earlier. Immediately after getting off the phone with Brian Albert, Brian Higgins drives back to 34 Fairview, where he has a meeting with just about all the witnesses in this case: Brian Albert, Julie Albert, Jennifer McCabe, Matthew McCabe. And immediately after that friends and family meeting, on his day off, which is a Saturday, he returns to the Canton Police Department, where he speaks with all of the first responding officers who had anything to do with this case. So this is a quote unquote witness accessing and communicating with all the first responding officers, we would argue monitoring what they're doing in regard to the investigation.
pause it for a
According to
second.
Brian Higgins, he admitted that Chief Berkowitz is one of his best friends, and that's why he had access to all these people. We have a law enforcement witness who will testify to seeing Chief Kenneth Berkowitz and Brian Higgins alone with Karen Reed's vehicle on the afternoon of January 29th of 2022 for, quote, a wildly long time.
So is this a name that's been in the materials?
We had all these comments from women who like Yannetti, and then someone posted, "My wife has the hots for Morrissey." Do you
Oh,
think anyone that there's anybody out there that actually their wife likes Morrissey or Lally?
I don't know. Is Lally married? Is he, does he have kids?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yannetti seems like the ladies seem to like Yannetti. That's the message I'm getting right now.
We know where Jackie Chin's chin went.
Would she like Morrissey?
I can't see them two together.
I noticed they were sitting in the so you had the family in the first row and the second row real squished in, and then the third row had Carl and Jackie in it. I don't know. There was something off about that situation there.
There weren't as many of them.
It
This
seemed
time, right?
like they weren't included in those 2 rows. I don't know. That's how I interpreted or saw it. So I don't know.
Is this a name known to the Commonwealth? Or
Yes.
is this somebody new? Okay.
We've now received video surveillance from the Canton Police Department that shows that there is an interior camera in the Sallyport garage where the car was housed. But during the exact time that third-party officer indicates that Berkowitz and Higgins were in the Sallyport together, the video mysteriously cuts out for 42 minutes between 5:08 and 5:50 p.m. And just to be clear here, we never get to see the condition of the taillight when it's brought into the garage. When we do see the car, we see it after Brian Higgins Chief Berkowitz, Michael Proctor, and Yuri Buchnick have all had access to it. At 5:36 p.m., the car pings that it's arrived in the Sallyport. That's during the missing video. Trooper Proctor, Trooper Buchnick never sees Brian Higgins' phone. They speak with him, and he takes it upon himself to use his own resources, Brian Higgins, within the federal government to ask a friend, Special Agent Matt Kelch, to download only the text messages in his phone between Karen and him and John. And that's it. We have to take his word for it that we got all of them. And we certainly don't have any communications between him and Brian Albert, for instance. On February 10th, when he shows up to his interview with Troopers Buchnick and Proctor, he brings with him copies of the text that he has deemed relevant in their murder investigation. And he hands them the copies of the extraction that he had his friend do. He then calls Matt Kelch the weekend of this incident to do the limited extraction. He never tells Trooper Buchnick or Trooper Proctor how he extracted the tests, despite the fact that it was done by a friend of his in the federal government. During the federal proffer, Brian Higgins admits that he had been served with a preservation order, and the Commonwealth told him he could destroy his phone despite the order. He then drives to a military base on Cape Cod, opens his phone, breaks the SIM card, and throws the phone away. And he says that he discussed destroying his phone with Brian Albert. Brian Albert also destroyed his phone.
Innocent people do that. I mean,
Yeah,
that should be the case right there. It should be over.
mean, you know, the FBI can find out a lot, okay? But to find out that you went to a military base on the Cape Cod, where you went, what you broke, you snapped your phone, like, this information was handed over willingly. This information was not gathered in a cloud by the FBI. This was all handed over. That's my opinion. I believe this was all handed over.
I think it's even more than opinion. I mean, I think we can put two and two together. Where else would that info come from?
Right.
And we know they got info. So, I mean, it's we have a lot of listeners right now. Some people are asking about the court officers. That they were yelling at people in the audience today. Was there some outbursts? Did something happen?
If you were chewing gum, they'd come over and say, "Stop chewing gum." They'd throw it out.
Yeah,
Honestly.
apparently you're not allowed to chew gum in court. I didn't know that, but it kind of felt like you were in school. You weren't allowed to chew gum. It's like, okay. I mean, I could understand if you're blowing bubbles, but like if you're just chewing gum. But you know, and then when you talked about the video, everybody kind of gasped, and there were a few new court officers in there today too. There's definitely I think there's a few more than there usually are, and I think that's how you're going to see it for trial, as if someone's going to try to like do something. I don't know, but
so I have something. Proctor was not on duty. Lank was not on duty. Chief wasn't on duty. And the stupid ATF agent sticking his nose doing murder investigation in Canton, he wasn't on duty. Why are all these people who seem to have problems, one, telling the truth, two, writing a complete report, why are they working on the free, or are they getting paid? Because I guarantee they all got freaking paid on that, right? Can you FOIA the payroll for that week?
yeah, I'm sure you could.
They're all working on their days off. Blank never should have been there. Proctor, it wasn't even his scheduled day. It wasn't even his turn to go. But yet, that was allowed. And that whole, I'll take this one, that's allowed internal into the office, in Maurice's office.
Not even that, like if I was a witness in a case and I ever went to my local PD and I was like, all right, show me what you got. Like, I want to know everything. They're going to be like, we still got an ongoing investigation. We can't tell you everything. But instead, why is Higgins calling the shot? You know, now we know because Berkey was his buddy and he had control. I mean, he had an office there with a couch and he slept there sometimes. Like, Like, you're not a Canton cop.
Yeah. I don't think people realize how close Berkowitz, Higgins, and Albert are. They're three amigos. Like they don't talk to anybody else. They
Yeah.
Well, the
only have
morning John was found,
I
he
think it's
missed a
obvious
call.
too. You go back to that retirement party for Berkowitz.
No,
There you
they're all
go.
there.
Who was there and who did he thank?
Well, who hosted that? Didn't was it Higgins or Brian
Yeah.
Albert that hosted it? I
Higgins.
thought one of them Higgins hosted
Higgins
it, right?
and there was
Set it
somebody
up.
else with him. Who was it?
He set it up. He set
Yeah.
the whole party up. Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, the first person that called him early that morning, he missed the call from Berkey, and then he called Brian Albert. So, and Berkey's the one who's on medical leave. When he called in to go when he called in to open the Sally Port, I'm assuming he ended up heading down there because Yannetti just said that Berkowitz was with the vehicle. Did he clock in? Was he on medical leave and he clocked in? Did he get, like, how does that work?
Right.
Yeah, I thought you're not allowed to work when in that situation. What are you doing there in a blizzard? You drove down to the Canton PD in a blizzard. You don't do that unless you're there to do something, right?
What was that thing that protects you if you give evidence? What was the name of that again?
The proffer agreement. PROFFER.
Does Karen have that in her, like, in anything in her side?
She could have a federal proffer agreement. But I don't think she needs one.
I think she'd be more I think she's more of a federal witness, if anything.
That's what I'd say. I don't think she'd actually need, like, usually a proffer agreement is for someone who has done some shit.
Oh.
And they're basically saying, if you be a witness, basically the way it works usually is they want you to be a witness and you've done some shit. So they're saying, if you tell us all the shit that you did and you're truthful and you're a witness for us, we'll forgive you. We won't use it against you. That's usually how it works.
That's a get out of jail free card.
You want to know
federal. It doesn't apply to
sign?
the state. It doesn't mean the state can't still charge you with murder. So
That's true.
but
So
it will
one
protect
of the
you
biggest
federally.
telltale signs that Karen Reed is innocent, okay? I've said this before and I'll say it again. It doesn't matter how the feds got involved, okay? I don't care if David Yannetti knows someone. It doesn't matter. The information was brought to the feds, okay? Who do you think the first person was that the feds looked at and investigated and ripped their life apart to make sure it wasn't them? David Yannetti and Alan Jackson would not bring their client if they had a 1% chance of thinking their client was guilty because the feds would find it. They brought Karen Reed to the feds, and I'm sure they ripped her. They looked at everything, and they ended up saying it wasn't her. So they moved on to the next, and the next was the people in the house. That's it. It's either the 13 people in the house or it was Karen. They cleared Karen. Now it's time to look in a different direction, and that's why you see the federal grand jury going on, and that's why you see some of these people cooperating with the feds, because it's all going to come out. Every single thing is going to come out in this, and all of our questions that we have now are going to be answered within the next 45 days.
Which is awesome. We're starting to see it. We saw some of it today. We got a peek of it.
Yeah, man.
Brian Albert said that he had received some text that concerns him as an explanation. And after that, Brian Higgins changes his phone number and changes his cell carrier. In short, he was present that night. He had a motive, and there is plenty of consciousness of guilt cover-up evidence with regard to Mr. Higgins. Moving on to Colin Albert. Shortly before January 29th of 2022, Colin Albert lived with his parents, Christopher Albert and Julie Albert, on John O'Keefe's street, just 2 doors down. We have evidence of bad blood between Colin Albert and John O'Keefe. We have evidence.
How old was Colin Albert at that time?
I believe he was 16 at that time.
Okay.
We have evidence that Colin Albert and John O'Keefe used to get in confrontations because Colin Albert used to cut through his yard without permission, and John O'Keefe was not happy about that. We have evidence that Colin Albert used to throw beer cans intentionally into John O'Keefe's bushes, and John O'Keefe was not happy about that. We have evidence that Christopher and Julie Albert knew of this conflict. We have evidence that they referred to John O'Keefe as Nebercracker. That's a character from I think a kid's movie, who was known as the get off my lawn guy. When John O'Keefe and Karen Reed were vacationing in Aruba over New Year's Eve 2022, the Alberts, Christopher and Julie, taunted him. They went to his porch and they had photos taken of themselves drinking on John's property when he wasn't there to do anything about it, evidencing they knew how upset he was at what Colin Albert had been doing. Now, the investigators in this case, Your Honor, including Michael Proctor, kept Colin Albert's name completely out of the police report. When this case began, I had no idea who Colin Albert was. I received a tip right from the jump that Brian Albert and his nephew had beaten up John O'Keefe. I didn't even know Brian Albert had a nephew at that time. But after receiving the tip, I learned of the conflict that Colin Albert had with John O'Keefe. So I sent a letter to Mr. Lally, I believe by certified mail. I knew that the DA's office was planning to present evidence or witnesses to a grand jury. And at that early juncture, before anybody had asked them to indict, I notified the DA of 3 potential suspects, the ones that I'm talking about now: Brian Higgins, Brian Albert, and Colin Albert. After he received that letter at our next court appearance, I'm sure Mr. Lally can confirm this, he acknowledged that both Brian Albert and Brian Higgins would be testifying or had testified before the grand jury, but he questioned why I included Colin Albert in my letter. He told me at the time that he had no evidence that Colin Albert was there that night. However, after receiving my letter, lo and behold, multiple witnesses testified that Colin Albert was at 34 Fairview the night of January 28th to 29th.
I just want to pause right there. This is exactly what a proffer is too. It's not it's not like full immunity, but they won't use their testimony against them. That's basically what it is. You tell the truth.
So it's a legal way out.
Yeah.
Someone made a comment here. Ask Bob. He said, "Do you worry about the kids testifying?" Personally, no. I mean, obviously, we know what they're going up there and what they're going to do. They're going to only talk about the fights. They're going to talk about the bad stuff. They're not going to talk about all the other stuff that Karen has done for them. And I don't think the defense is really worried about that as well, because they can back up all their claims of how much this family, I will say, appreciated Karen being in their lives and being a mother figure to these children, and they have to back that up. So I'm not really worried about the kids testifying personally. If they want to, that's on them. My opinion, I think if the state is putting them forwards as a witness, I don't think they should. But if these kids want to go up there, they have every right to go up there and try to say how they feel. But the Commonwealth has to know that these kids are going to get cross-examined. And when you ask a child about a message they send that shows love and support, how are they gonna respond to that after just crucifying somebody? I don't know. That's my opinion on that. So that's going to be
kind of a shady. It's kind of a shady move if they actually do that. I hope they don't.
Oh, I think they're going to, because they need to show how bad of a person Karen was from 42 different people. Like, if you notice, 42 people testified in front of the grand jury. 42 people thought she was guilty at that time. And stop it. They're trying to get numbers here. It's the more people they can put on stand to say Karen's bad, Karen's mean, Karen hated John, the worse she looks to the jury. And then if you get little young kids saying it, they fought in front of us all the time, they did this all the time in front of us, blah blah blah. What about all the good times? What about all the vacations you went on? What about all the Red Sox games you guys went to? Like the shopping things you guys did? That's gonna be an interesting day.
That happened. What they're talking about, Chris Albert and Julie Albert on the deck drinking beer cans, and that was during the same Aruba trip.
Oh, I don't know. Are you at no? Because
I think so.
I don't know if it was.
Sounding like it is, right, Mike? It has to be.
Yeah, it has to be. I don't think they went to
Right.
Aruba twice, unless they went to Aruba twice, but it sounds like
Why did he say when they went on vacation to Aruba, or did he just say when they weren't home on vacation?
No, they were in Aruba. In Aruba, he said
Oh,
that.
so then then it probably would.
What an absolute disaster that freaking trip must have been for that poor girl. That whole
Now,
trip.
the DA will argue,
You
I'm
know?
sure, at trial that he left before Joan O'Keefe arrived. We don't find their evidence compelling. We don't accept it. We are not required to accept their theory of the case. We're entitled to present a defense. His presence at 34 Fairview gave him the opportunity, along with the motive, to harm John O'Keefe. With regard to Brian Albert, Your Honor, this is a well-connected, well-known, powerful family in the town of Canton, Massachusetts. Brian Albert was present at that home when Colin Albert was there. Colin Albert is a member of the Albert family. He's nephew of Brian Albert. We have evidence that Brian Albert had expressed hostility toward John O'Keefe as well. And we know that he initiated a phone call with Brian Higgins at 2:22 in the morning. He reached out to Brian Higgins. And then he picked up the phone when Brian Higgins came back, and they spoke for 22 seconds. And they never revealed any of that to investigators. Again, consciousness of guilt. And perhaps most of all, Brian Albert is a first responder. He is duty bound to help somebody who's in trouble. He was notified that John O'Keefe was in trouble. Brian Albert stayed in his home. He knew what was going on outside. His sister-in-law was out there, civilians, medical personnel eventually arrived. He did nothing. That is also consciousness of guilt. Now, Your Honor, with regard to all of that third-party culprit evidence, to admit it substantively, which I would assert to the court is both overwhelming and powerful. With regard to the Bowden argument here, the police investigated none of that. That didn't come from the Commonwealth. They had a complete lack of curiosity as to what was going on in that house that night. They didn't care. Investigators never went in. The feds investigated, and that's where we got a majority of this evidence. So, to the extent that the Commonwealth now claims that they didn't have notice of this, I beg to defer. They got notice of this when we got notice of this. The Finney case, Your Honor, again, I'm well familiar with it. It stood for the proposition that, if you want to point the finger at a third-party culprit, you've got a constitutional right to do that. And if you want to point out inadequacies in a police investigation, you have a constitutional right to do that. It is for those reasons that I ask you to deny the Commonwealth's motions.
Okay.
Hold on. So
Thank you.
what happens
Any
if
response, Mr. Lally?
what happens if she says you can't have a third party defense? That's their whole defense.
right. It shows you how weak too. I don't think, I think Bev's not going to give them it. I think that they're going to get
I
their
mean,
third.
if it was to be granted, I guess the only thing would have to just be to debunk everything the Commonwealth says without trying to say somebody else did it. I guess and it's not even their job to really prove that her client did it. The state has to prove without reasonable doubt that Karen did it, and the defense can just debunk everything, I guess. But I mean, I hope it doesn't get to that point. But I don't know. Man. This is going to be a wild ride, like I said. But it's getting late. I got work tomorrow.
We all got to go.
I gotta get going.
I want to thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you, Nick.
I appreciate the time, man.
Thank you, Tom.
My pleasure, my friend.
And
We'll see what happens on Tuesday. We'll see what happens with these rulings and the hearings.
My prediction is 3 days jury selection. 3 days, I think.
Yeah, I can see that.
Gonna be 3 long days. We shall see. Thank you guys so much for being here tonight. Thank you.
Well,
for
they're not even, yeah, it's not going to be televised or anything. I think it's going to be secret. But
That's what I was wondering too. Is that going to be televised? That's a good question. The jury selection, probably not.
oh, one last thing that I thought about today was, you know, what's wild to me is during the Chesna trial, there was not much media around it at all. Okay. And they brought in a jury from Worcester County. There is so much media, and Norfolk County knows about this case, but the jury is coming from Norfolk County. That just does not make sense to me.
Right.
Can you make that make sense?
Nope.
Well, think about it too. Like even if they they would have to bring them from Canada. Even there, people in Canada know. I mean, it's just.
I mean, that's something that I don't think I'll ever understand. They could have found a jury in Norfolk County for Officer Chesna.
Yeah,
There was no
exactly.
media around it. I barely even knew what happened in that case. And then in this case, could be someone who lives down the street is going to be a jury member.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Something's fishy about that too. I don't know. We'll see. But with that being said, I am gonna get off here now. I appreciate the time, guys.
Thank you so much for being
Have
here,
a good
Nick.
night.
Thank you, Jen and Nick, for all you guys do. Both you guys, you're both wonderful. Thank you.
You too. Thank you, Nick, and thank you, Tom. Tom, tell us where you can find all your stuff too before you jump off. Like where, Nick, you're
Me?
obviously on the Justice Group.
Yeah,
but
you'll
tell us
find me
where
there.
people can find you too.
And I will say one thing: if you do message me, I pretty much respond to everybody, other than some people who are sending me the stuff for, like, when you were sending me your name and address. Like, you know, I opened them, I read them, but you know, anytime anyone has questions, they need something, you can always message me. I'm pretty sure anyone who's ever had a question or whatever, you know, why a post doesn't get posted or what, you can message us. We'll answer you. We're humans. We don't bite. We're normal. I'm a normal person. You know what I mean? Like, I might be a big part of this movement, but at the end of the day, when this is over, I'm going back to my boring life. You know, that's it. We're all human here. We're all just trying to do what we believe in, and you know, the truth is going to come out very soon. So with that, I got to get out of here.
Thank you, Nick.
See you guys later.
Save me a spot, bud.
You got it.
And tell us, Tom, where people can find Tom CPU. I find you on YouTube, but tell us all the places
YouTube.
people can find.
That's it. I'm CPU Tommy on Twitter. I've had that for a long time, but I don't really use that. That's about it. I'm just a YouTube guy going around, just recording stuff for you guys to watch. Again, I'm doing my part, and you do your part, and the rest of the world just comes along for the ride. It's awesome, Mike. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing.
It really is. I want to thank you so much for being here, Tom.
Thank you, JC. That's pretty cool right there. 10 memberships, Mike. Boom.
Yeah, we got some exactly. I want to thank before we check out. It's been a long day.
Listen, you can kick me off, bud. I'll talk to you.
Oh, thank you, Tom.
Yep. Thank you again,
Thank
Mike.
you so
Thank
much.
you, everybody. Thank you. Free Karen Reed.
Exactly. That's what I want to leave with. I
Love
want
you,
to
bud.
thank you, Tom.
Talk to you, Mike.
You too. I want to thank everyone who's been supporting JC, gifted 10 memberships. Luna's mom. She just been a member for 3 months. She's a basic jerk on the YouTube. And she gave us another $10 too on the super chat. And I wanted to talk about the Canton 8, which we did talk about with Nick. We had some Venmos come through too, I believe. Let me just check those. But I want to thank everyone who's been sharing, supporting, coming on the show, the guests. We've had amazing guests. I think we're going to have some more amazing guests this week. We're working on it. Hold on one second. I got different accounts and I have to check, and I just want to make sure that I'm not missing anyone tonight, because we did have some contributions come in today too. I want to thank Janice, who sent 20 earlier, Teresa, who sent 50, Jen, who sent 25 earlier today, John Varney sent money earlier, Cynthia sent money, some money earlier this week, and Laurel. Thank you so much. Steve Golden had recently sent some money too. And I want to check on the other one too. 1 second. And I want to thank MJ, who's moderating. I know some people are mad because she's been kicking them out, but you got to behave because MJ, if you don't behave, MJ will boot you, and then I might have to like ask MJ to let you back in, and I don't want to have to do that. So be good out there because MJ will get you. I love having other people do it, so I don't have to make the decision. Of course, I can't find the Cash App ones. Caroline sent some money on the Cash App. She said, "For everything you do, we thank you so much, Caroline. Thank you, Caroline Forth." And Jeffrey sent some money. I think it was yesterday or the day before too, on the Cash App. I want to thank everyone who's been supporting us. Thank you so much. Have a great night. We had a lot of people watching today, and just even watching now at 11:23 at night. Wow, still like 900 people on here. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon, everyone.